everybody.
Hey guys.
We're going to give y'all a moment to come on. We're going to let our camera person let us know when we have a certain amount of viewers on before we get into this topic tonight. And she's ready.
I am ready, so you better bring your questions, bring everything. Don't get mad with me when I tell you the truth, because some things might be in your favor, some things may not be in your favor, but all I can do is give you the real.
Right, so come on. We're going to wait a few moments. When you come on, say hi so we can say hi back. Hey, Lisa.
We got 2 people.
Hey, Lisa.
Come on. We're going to come on. Hey, Tanya.
Hey, Tanya.
Y'all funny.
She is crazy.
I'm ready. Y'all just don't know. I got a lot. I'm ready tonight.
So she's ready. Send your questions. If you have
Sarasa.
questions, you can send them. We'll try to get to them
T.
tonight. Also, share, because we have prizes for the person who shared this video. We're going to put your name in. So share. We want to see who shared. Everybody who shared, you will get, we're going to put our name, you're going to put your name in a drawing, and you'll receive, as Auntie Nella has created a t-shirt. And you're going to get her exclusive Meow Meow t-shirt. So you will want that. Share. If it's a guy, we'll send you another one. We haven't created that one yet. Yep. But come on.
Yep.
Way better lighting. I saw you just share, Tanya. Your name will go in a drawing. You the only person so far, so
come on, guys, share.
Let's share it.
10 people.
Hey, Kiana. Hey, cousin. Oh, Lord. Camera girl, they got in on this.
And I'm going to give you guys till at least Thursday to share, the end of the day on Thursday. Friday, I'm going to do the drawing live. So you guys will see whose name is out there. So you share it, your name will go in the box. Whoever name is pulled out of that box, they will get my t-shirt. Then I would have that person do a video to show them the t-shirts. And then thank you so much for sharing. But continue to share, and invite friends.
So just to give a little background on what we're going to talk about, the topic tonight is help. My relationship has lost its flavor, its fire. And when I tell you this lady has been up all day, all night, ready to answer questions. She has been ready. We've been getting questions in the inbox.
Yep.
So go ahead. We share. We're going to give it about 60 more seconds, and then we're going to dive in. So
Absolutely.
While we wait on 60 more seconds, tell us a little background on how long you've been married.
Okay. I've been married for 24 years. 25 year. My 25th year will be next year. I've been with my husband me and Mike been together now for 30 years. 29 years total. So next year will be 30 years, 25 years married. So I got some numbers behind my name in my marriage. So when I'm giving you this information, I ain't telling you some stuff that I haven't been through or somebody have come to me and asked me about. I'm giving you the real.
Okay. So that's and I can tell you how I come about. This is my auntie. She's my mom's sister, and this is the person I would go to for advice. And she would give me relationship advice, Lord knows, sex advice, all type of crazy. And not
sex
crazy.
is important. I'm telling you, don't let nobody fool you. Sex is important.
And hi, Keisha. Thanks for sharing and marriage advice. And so she will tell me whether I'm right. She will tell me whether I'm wrong. And so I love her for giving that advice. Because, sometimes family will be, you got 3 kids and 8 grandkids.
Yes, girl.
Sometimes family will be on your side talking about, let's go beat them down. Let's get this. Let's get that. So we're going to jump right into it. And we're going to go ahead. We got, we said 60 seconds.
Before we jump into that, I do want to thank you guys for tuning in.
Yes.
I really appreciate you guys taking the time to tune in and listen and ask questions and allow me to share my wisdom with you guys, because just as much as you guys may be having fun asking me the question, baby, I'm having just as much fun giving you my answers. My answers may not be the answers you're looking for, or my answers may be the answer that gets you right up to the situation or fix the situation that you're in. So I always say a lot, share, and share is for this reason. Share is because what we talk about may not touch you, but sharing may touch somebody on your page, in your life, somewhere. So please share.
Okay. So let's get into these crazy questions. So we came up with the topics. Help my relationship has lost its flavor. And one of the things, a disclaimer. You want to tell people if it gets too risque, she's going to say
meow, meow, meow 5 times. I'll give you a 5-second meow. Because let me tell you, if you ask me a question that's risque, or if you ask me a question, I can't give you none but the truth. So if the question is a little risky, or I think it's a little risque, I'm going to give you a 5-second meow. That means 5 meows. You log off, or you deal with whatever you're going to hear that's coming out of my mouth.
Okay, so let's get right into it. So we're going to talk about relationships, and we're going to jump right into it. So help my relationship has lost its flavor, has lost the fire, the zap, all of this. So I want you to tell me, like, what are some of those triggers that can take the fire out of my relationship, and whether I'm married or unmarried. So what are some of those things that you can give viewers to say, hey, if you see this, try to catch it now before it's, you know what I'm saying, to rekindle it. So give them some of those triggers.
I'm going to go in from a relation standpoint first. And the reason why I'm going to say a relationship standpoint first is for this reason. Sometimes you may carry some things that's nagging to your spouse over into a marriage. So he may overlook it, but once he gets married and longevity happens, it may bug him. So one of the things that I realize is that, if you're a nag, for instance, he come home, honey, I need you to do this. Why you didn't do this? What's going on? So you constantly nagging him. You're on his back. One of the other things is not allowing him to be free and not allow him to be the man that he was meant to be when it comes to the household. That's one of the big things.
What you mean, a man he meant to be?
Well, he's meant to be a man. He's meant to be a provider. That's important. A provider. He's important to be that provider. He needs to feel like he's a man. And we talk a lot about that. A lot of times what happens is we as women take that from them. And sometimes in a relationship, they may overlook it and think that you're going to grow and things are going to get a little bit better. But if you bring that over into a marriage, I can almost guarantee you're going to run into a lot of problems, and your marriage is going to be in hell. So some of those things you have to make sure, another thing is people, when they're in a relationship, they're making sure, they look good. They're making sure, they're wearing the right thing. But then they get married. They walk around with muumuus on, dirty slippers, big nasty underwear. But when they dating them, they got sexy this, matching bras and underwear. I said it and I'll keep saying it. Whatever you did to keep him, you need to maintain it. Okay. So you need to make sure you're presentable to him at all times, because that may throw him off too. Well, dang, when we was dating or when we were in the beginning of our marriage, we looked decent. She looked decent. Now she don't even care.
Okay, so it is important to wear panties from Vicky or some sexy panties or something like that.
You want to. If you have a marriage, let me tell you something. If you in a marriage and you can't wear something sexy for your husband, baby, you need to get up out that marriage. Because let me tell you, what you won't do, Miss Jones or Miss Smith will do it.
What you mean?
What you won't do it, Miss Jones or Miss Smith won't do it.
So I can't wear my granny panties?
You can wear your granny panties, but what I'm saying is what happens is people lose themselves. And what I mean by that is they're not presenting themselves to look the way they used to look. They're not, making sure, I'm having on decent, undies, decent bra, decent shirt, looking decent and presentable. That man want to feel like, I got a beautiful wife. That man don't want to feel like, well, I had a beautiful wife, but now I don't have that beautiful wife no more. So then he lose interest. And you know what he going to do? Miss Smith and Miss Jones going to be his best friend.
Okay. So a question that we had was, how can I get my man to trust me enough to share? Well, we talking about stuff that lost its flavor in relationships right now. I don't think. But one of the questions that of your had, and we're gonna jump back and forth. Sorry, guys, was how can I get my mate to trust me enough to share his personal life with me? Isn't that like some of the things that if you're trying so hard for him to get that can zap the fire out of your relationship?
It can, and I think people have to take some time. And what I mean by take some time is every person is not the same. So my husband may be, one person that's eager to share, their life with me, in the beginning of a relationship. I might have somebody that's private. And if you have somebody that's private but's not willing, first thing you need to do is take some time to understand them, listen to them, try and find out why they're afraid to tread those waters, because you never know, the waters that you're asking them to tread with you may bring up some deep wounds. So it might be a reason why they're choosing not to. So I'm going to say, for that question, you need to keep it between you and yourself. Try and figure out what it is and take baby steps. And as you take baby steps and allow them to trust you enough, you don't even have to ask them. They're going to just deliver it and give it to you. And then you'll feel connected with that person.
Okay. So in a relationship, sometimes we try so hard as women. Sometimes we I'm not going to just say women. I'm going to say people in general, because it could be a man or a woman. Sometimes we give too much. So how would I know how would I know if I'm getting the same thing I'm putting in, my relationship? How do I know if I'm if I'm getting that out of my relationship? Or is that something I should be worrying about if I'm getting that, you know what I mean? Out of my in and out of the relationship. So how would I know what I'm putting in is what I'm getting out of?
Let me tell you something. If you're in a relationship and you're questioning it today, and you're questioning everything I'm putting in this relationship I'm getting out, you ain't getting out what you need. Because if that question came up, then clearly your mate, your spouse, somewhere along the line, you don't feel like you're getting that connection that you expect. Another thing is, a lot of times when we're giving or we're expecting something, it's our expectation. You're dealing with a different individual. So you have to allow their expectations to be at their time and your expectation at your time. A lot of times, stuff like that can kill a relationship. And I mean kill that relationship. And what I mean by that is, you're expecting or you're putting an expectation on somebody that they don't have. That's your expectation. That's not his expectation. If you're willing to move forward in the relationship, take your time, take those baby steps, and let it happen. It'll happen if it's meant to be. But what I will tell you is, don't be no damn fool and stay in that relationship for 5, 6, 7 years and you still got this question. Because then what you're doing is, God have given you a sign, or somebody have shared, you've had a conversation with somebody giving you some wisdom, and you knew that, but you chose to be in that. And 7 years down the line, you're like, well, I don't understand, I lost 7, 8 years of my life. You chose to lose those 7 or 8 years of your life. So I'm gonna say, don't lay your expectations on somebody else's back.
So which means I need to know for sure what I'm getting into.
You need to know, and that's why it's important to have a friendship. That's why it's important to take time. Because if you take some time to understand them, connect with them, try and figure out what it is. If you're at the point where you feel like, you know what, I just don't feel like I'm getting everything I need out of this, and I've been in this for 6 months, then maybe you ask that question. So where are we going? What's the direction? I just want to be honest. You don't want to sit there and spend all this time and find out that your heart is not connected, or their heart is not connected the same way that your heart is connected.
So just say, for instance, if I was a person and I've been in my marriage for, I'm going to say 5 years, and I don't think he loves me. I think he loves me, but I'm not sure he really loves me. And I'm trying to keep the flavor in my relationship or marriage. Man, why are you looking at me like, what am I supposed to do? I think he loves me. You know what I'm supposed to do.
How the hell you been in a relationship?
Heck, baby.
Sorry. How the heck you been in a relationship for 3, 4 years and you think he loves you, or you're not sure that he loves you? Something's wrong. Because if you've been in that relationship for a long time, he done showed his hand to you up front. You chose not to. All I can tell you with this question is, ask him directly. If he's honest and he says yes, baby, let him show you. Action will show you if he means. You could tell me, and we touched on this, I think 2 Mondays ago. People could tell you all day long, I love you, I appreciate you. But if you never show me, then it's null and void.
Okay. So I know you were saying last week we touched on a lot of stuff. Oh, I have another question. This was a question that somebody wanted to ask you. They're in a relationship. And they're at a point where they want to move forward. Both people don't know if, they both saying you the one, but neither one of them is sure, want to initiate on moving forward. So what advice can you give that person on a relationship? If I'm in this relationship and I'm saying he the one, he's saying I'm the one, but neither one of us is willing to take that step to say we the one together.
I just think both of you guys are at a crossroad, And that's a conversation that you have to have. And unfortunately for that one, you have to be blunt and ask the question. Because my thing is, if I feel like we're ready, you think that he's ready, then the question might be to ask, where are we going from here? I feel like we've dated for 3 years. I feel like, it's been a great success. I'm feeling you, and I'm hoping you feeling me, because you can't answer for him. You have to allow him to answer. That's where we sometimes make our mistakes. We're giving an answer for them, but we're not allowing them to answer. So we give them a pass to play us. So say, you know what, I know I'm feeling you, I'm hoping you feeling me. Pause. Let him answer. If he hesitates too long, get up from that table, leave him with the bill, and go home. Because if I've been with you for a long period of time, there should be no hesitation for you to say, yep, I love you, but I want to make sure, because some people think that, some people think that I've been in a relationship thinking, I've been there 3 years, it's time for us to move forward into marriage. You don't know his background. Maybe he's choosing to clear up some things and get some stuff in order before he moves forward with you. So asking a question and being direct, it's okay to ask that question, but you have to ask it and allow him to answer it. Don't answer it for him.
But sometimes with women, we may not be on the same page with them. I might think he feeling me and loving me and, being all on me, and I want to make sure, but I don't want to put myself out there and say, hey, boo, you feeling me like I'm feeling you, because I don't want to be hurt. You know what I mean? So it's like
you can't make it, though. You can't make it if you're not honest with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself before he can be honest with you. So if you're feeling somebody, it's nothing wrong with you being honest and saying, I'm feeling you. Be direct, be very direct and say, I'm feeling you. Now, what you also have to do is prepare yourself. Because if his response comes out and say, you know what, I'm there, but I'm not quite there, then you have to prepare yourself and be willing to accept that. But if they're honest enough to say, I'm not on the same page right now, but here's why, and allow them to explain it, it's up to me to accept it. But allow him to explain to you why he's not on the same, or vice versa. There could be women the same way. Just allow them to explain. Don't answer for them. Throw it out there, ask the question, and wait for an answer.
Okay. So here's another question that somebody posed too. Sometimes we put ourselves out there.
Yep.
And we give so much.
Yep.
That person shuts down, and then that makes me feel empty.
Okay.
So what is your, what am I supposed to do if he won't let me give, so I, and it makes me feel empty because he's not accepting those things.
You have a problem, and here's why you have a problem. If I'm in a relationship and I'm willing to give, and this is me willing to give, not expecting anything in return, why should I feel empty? If I'm feeling empty, it's because I'm giving expecting something in return. And so if I'm giving expecting something in return, then you're going to get that. You're going to deal with exactly what you're dealing with up front. So if you're giving and you're okay with giving, but because you may not be getting what you're expecting back, then that's something that you need to work on yourself. Another thing off of that one is, I talked about this, I think 2 weeks ago as well, 2 Mondays ago as well. If you're in a relationship and you're still charting some of these questions and these issues, sometimes what you have to do is you have to step back, stop dating for a minute, or stay in a little, platonic friendship. And what you do is you start to work on yourself and build yourself, because what that tells me, if you're telling me that you're empty, what that tells me is this: you have not built your temple up enough to be able to withstand a relationship yet. And so you have to work on yourself, because you should never feel empty if you're willing to give. And so you should never ever feel that way, ever.
What you mean I should never? I'm a giving person, so I want to give to my mate, my boo thing. I won't show him that I love him, but he don't want to accept. That's the way that I show love.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me I got a problem with myself because that's the way I show love?
Let me tell you something. If I won't give you $1,000 and you ain't taking it, and I feeling empty about that, something wrong with you. Something wrong with you. Because if I'm willing to give you $1,000, and I feel bad because you ain't willing to take my $1,000, something wrong. Something is clearly wrong. What you're doing is you're getting gratitude from giving. You want them to give, and you want something to expect something behind that. A lot of times in that situation is what you're doing is you're almost, now I ain't gonna even say almost, I'm gonna keep it real with you. You buying your mate. You expecting, I'm gonna buy him this, you giving him them expectations or her that expectation, I'm buying them all of this, and I'm gonna buy my way to their heart. No, all you're gonna do is buy your way to being used. That's all you're going to do. You buying your way to being used. I don't care who it is. Because if you're in a position where I'm willing to give, but I'm not really getting anything in return and I'm feeling empty about that, the only way you're going to feel empty is because you're going about it is giving and expecting something in return. I can't feel guilty about something I'm giving and expecting something in return. So I say take some time to connect with yourself.
So I might be trying to validate myself through the gifts. So,
you're trying to, not yourself, you're trying to validate that relationship. So what you're doing is, you know how sometimes you have people who say, you know what, when I first met my husband, he wined and dined me and blah, blah, blah. And I wasn't really in love with him, but then maybe 5 years into it, I felt head over heels for him. Well, what you did was, you fell in love with what he was buying you. And then you allowed yourself to be in love with him after a while within that relationship. You never allow yourself up front. And that's the worst thing you can do is walk into a relationship and allow a person to be happy for what you give them. And not be happy with the point of being, you know what, I gave this to him, gave this to them, or I expected this, and however it falls is my expectations or gift, I'm going to leave it at that. So allow yourself to understand why you're doing what you're doing.
So allow to see those triggers on why I'm trying to validate this relationship.
Yeah.
So could it be that I just don't know why I'm empty?
You could
inside?
be. And that's one of the things we talked about too, self-worth. You have to have yourself prepared and ready to move into a relationship. So if you're in a relationship and you're questioning some of those things, baby, that's old baggage that you're bringing from an old relationship into a new relationship. So some of the things that made you feel weird from your first relationship, you're trying to connect it in a new relationship. And so then you have to step back and say, you know what? I'm not quite there just yet. I need to get myself together before I can be the best girlfriend, the best boyfriend, the best wife, the best husband. Because if you go into that relationship or you go into that marriage, a hot mess that you are today, your marriage and your relationship will go nowhere. Nowhere. You will be sitting in the bedroom with some beautiful lingerie on and nobody shows up. And then you mad. So or he's sitting at home, done fixed a beautiful dinner, and the candles done melted, and you never walked in. Oh, wow. So you just have to take the time to work on yourself. Get yourself prepared so you could be ready and available and allow God to send you your mate, and you're all ready to go when he sends you your mate.
So how can I prepare myself? You're talking about getting ready. How can I prepare myself?
You have to, if you're getting out of a relationship, whether it's a good relationship or, well, I ain't going to say good relationship, because if I'm getting out of a relationship, for whatever reason, something bad happened in that relationship that I couldn't move forward. If I'm getting out that relationship, before you move on to the next relationship, take some time to connect with yourself. Because I don't care how long you've been in a relationship, you're going to lose some of yourself. I don't care who you are. You're going to lose some of yourself. So you need to take some time to step back and look at you and say, what are the things I need to work on, God? Allow me to work on. So if I meet Mr. Right or you send me Mr. Right or Mrs. Right, you know, I've worked on my tempo. I prepared myself to be ready and dedicated to move forward into a new relationship. I've cleaned the slate. I'm not bringing this old baggage from boo-boo into this new relationship. So I say work on yourself first. Give yourself the time to move forward and let it go.
So I think that goes back to the trust kind of thing, because sometimes we hold on to stuff and we say we might trust, but when it comes to being vulnerable in a sense, we don't give people that part of it. So then we come into relationships with 60% because we holding back the 40% because we don't want to
triggers.
Those
You're
triggers
sitting and waiting for triggers to happen, and when those triggers happen, and women, we are this way up and down. We know what we've been through. We know what the past relationships did to us to cause us hurt. So what we do is we wait for triggers. And as soon as we see that trigger, baby, we diving in. oh, you know what? I don't think, I can do dinner tonight because I have to go and help my mom because my mom's sick. Bam. You instantly think like, oh, yeah, he doing something. He talking to another woman. It could be that his mama's sick. And he a mama boy. He won't help his mama. So it's nothing wrong.
Because his mama's sick and he won't help his mama.
But a trigger is, if I was in a previous relationship, my mate always said I was going, talk to my mom or help my mom or whatever. And you find out later on, he ain't with his mama. He ain't never been to his mama's house and his mama ain't even sick. His mama clubbing along with him. But then your new relationship, because that person is telling you, then now you like, well, no, you ain't going to do nothing for your mama. I'm coming and I'm following along. Right then and there, what you've done is you've broken a trust with him, because then he don't feel like you trust him. That's a problem. That's going to cause an argument, because if he's honest and he's telling you, you have to let people hang themselves. Let them be honest and say, here's what I'm going to do. And then when they're not honest and you find out they're not honest, then you could deal with them. But if you're not giving them an opportunity to be honest, every man is not the same. Every woman is not the same. Don't carry your problems from your relationship with Boo Boo, Lil Sean, Big Willie, High Miss. Don't do it. Because then what you're doing is you're bringing old garbage that's going to stink and flies is going to come around into your new relationship. Don't bring the issue into the new relationship, because I'm telling you, you're going to have them horse flies behind you. And he ain't going to want to deal with you.
What?
You're going to have horse flies behind you. They're going to, because you bring an ish with you. Don't bring ish with you, because ish stinks.
Okay, so
that's all I'm going to say.
I'm glad we working on
He gonna try to have a conversation with you, and he can have a conversation with you because you ishy stinking and the flies around, so he got to find him a fly squatter. He got to find him something to catch the flies. You have to make sure that you're not bringing old baggage, because you're destroying your relationship before it can get anywhere. It can't go anywhere if you're bringing it along the way.
Wow. So how do you get over those past relationships? I know with prayer and with God, is there any, friends? I see a person put, so how do you get over there? Is this relationship, God, therapy, friends?
Yep.
Speak about that. Those things are important for you to have that good friendship with people who can help you move forward.
I think that it's always important to have a buddy or a support system, somebody that you can count on, somebody that you can have a conversation with, and somebody that's going to give you real. And what I mean by real, whether you like my answer or you don't like my answer, I can't do anything but give you my real. And so you have to be able and willing. A lot of times what happens is people say, I want to get over this relationship, but I can't get over this relationship. You have a conversation with Auntie Nella. Auntie Nella telling you know what? You need to stop dating that person. Give yourself some time for your time to connect with yourself so you can know what your self-worth is. Because if you know your self-worth, then what you're not going to do is you're not going to have the questions that you're asking. You're going to know that you're worth it. Whether he like you or he don't like you, you like bye. The other thing is, when you're in that situation, you want to get somebody that you know you can connect with. So let me tell you something. If I'm having issues in my marriage, what I look like going to a single friend and asking a friend about stuff about my marriage, about, hey, I'm having this issue with, my husband. That friend can't connect with me. She ain't married. Yeah, she may have been married, but if you're dealing with something today and that friend is single today, I'm telling you, if you don't listen to nothing else I'm saying, I'm telling you that friend cannot give you the emotional connection you're going to need from a friend who's married. So pick you somebody that that's, in your same relationship or not in your same, situation, but make sure they're honest enough to keep whatever you're asking them. They're keeping it to their heart, and they're going to give you the real. Because some people sugarcoat it for you. Some people sugarcoat, and that's not what you need when you're in a situation looking for honest answer. But one last thing. Pray to God and ask God to allow you to accept whatever that friend tells you. And allow him to be able to give you the advice to move forward from that. But yeah, you need to have friends. You need to pray. You need to be able to, get out. Start to do stuff for yourself. Go out to eat, eat at a dinner table with yourself. Start to look at your surroundings. If you're walking in the club, if you're walking into the restaurant, if you're walking in a restaurant and you start seeing, men start seeing, looking at you, take note of that. And what I mean by take note of that is, you want to feel like you still at some point have it. I don't care who you are.
Oh.
That beats up your self-esteem. Don't bait into it, but it beats up your self-esteem.
Okay.
Because if they say hi, you say hi back, keep it moving. You know why you say hi back and keep it moving? You're not ready.
Shut up.
Say hi and keep it moving.
So, question: can my divorced friend give me advice about my marriage?
Well, first of all, you gotta find out what your divorced friend was divorced for. Because what I'm saying is, sometimes people cannot give you good advice if you don't understand their background and their struggle. My struggle may be that I'm in a marriage and I'm struggling with something along the fact of, you know what? I really want him, but I'm afraid to approach him and ask him that question. But her marriage may have went down the drain because she found her husband in the bed with another woman. So what advice could she give you when you guys are on two different ends? So you have to be careful when you're putting that information out there. You know what you're expecting to get back. Because if she's divorced and she ain't deal with some of the stuff that you deal with, then baby, don't waste your time and your energy. It's not worth it.
Maybe she can, help me out.
Yeah, she gonna help you out with a bunch of lies.
Some signs and stuff. You know what I'm saying? That
she gonna give you a bunch of
she
lies.
How
She gonna give.
she gonna be?
Because it's difficult.
Divorced?
Here's why. It's difficult sometimes to ask somebody who's not in the same situation you're in. And what I mean by that, it doesn't have to be the same situation. You need to have a conversation. And what I'm going to say is, just don't throw your business out there and say, girl, here's what I'm having. Me and JoJo is going through this problem, girl. What should I do? If you've been with that friend long enough, you're going to already know her struggles. You're going to already know her struggles. You're going to already know what she's went through. So you just have to make sure that you're not throwing your heart out there or your struggles out there with them, and they can't give you no good, valid answer. Or they give you an answer that destroys your marriage. Okay. So you just have to be careful as to how you approach it. Don't take all the advice sometimes that people give you. Because people will tell you, girl, I will leave him. You know what? I would leave him. If he was on the phone with her, I'd leave him. But then she done called Billy 50 times on the phone with Susie, Sally, JoJo, Jamie, and she ain't done nothing. But be like, I don't understand why you keep doing this. Everybody's relationship is different. Allow yourself to know your rock bottom and what you can take and what you can't take, and don't waver on it.
Okay. So I had this question that just came in, and the question was, what should I do if my spouse showed no interest in me sexually?
Say it again.
What should I do? This person wants to know what she should do if her spouse, I'm not going to say her, because it could be him or her, it's anonymous. What should I do if my spouse showed no interest in me sexually?
I'm going to give you a little quick disclaimer. I'm giving you 5 seconds. Meow, 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 meow. If you want to hear my answer, you need to stay on. If you don't, you're welcome to log off. If your spouse is not showing you interest sexually, baby, you need to start looking at some telephone records, some emails, peeking from around the corner when he leaves, following behind him in a friend's car.
Why I gotta do all that?
You need to do some things, because let me tell you something. If that man is not connecting with you sexually, he getting kitty cat from somewhere.
Wait, what?
I'm just saying, he getting it from somewhere. Because let me tell you something. There's no way that your partner, your spouse, your husband, whoever, your wife, they're in the bed with you and they're not connected with you sexually. If you ain't giving it to him, boo-boo, or if he ain't giving it, or if she ain't giving it to you,
Jesus.
Something's wrong. He's getting it from somewhere. So if he's depriving you of it, baby, trust me, he ain't depriving himself.
What if this man have a problem? He could have a problem. He could have a problem.
Well, you better tell me what your darn problem is, and you better tell me quick. Because if I'm in a relationship with you and you can't, and I'm starting to question, that you can't touch me or whatever, what you did when we was dating? You ain't have that problem when we was dating?
I could work a lot.
Baby, you working a lot, you still need to get some. So don't be no fool to think just because the answer is, oh, I'm tired, honey, I'm not feeling like it. You know as women, and we know as men, if you get that answer and you get it often enough, you know something ain't right.
She was just, not she, they was just saying that maybe he don't look at them in a sexual way. Maybe it's feeling like a chore now. Maybe it's just because we together, yeah.
Then you're not doing something you're not doing something within yourself to make yourself look presentable. So maybe you've turned him off. Maybe because you getting in the bed.
What if he turned me off? What if
it could be vice versa. Maybe he getting in the bed with holy drawers on and holy t-shirt. Maybe you getting in the bed with them big old drawers on, not looking sexy, a moo-moo on, socks on, something on your head looking a hot mess. Maybe you haven't taken the time to work on you. And if that's the thing, if you at that point where your husband is not connecting or your wife is not connecting with you sexually, be blunt. Honey, I just want to know what's going on. You know, we used to do blah, 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 blah. And now all of a sudden, we're not doing it. Is it something that I'm doing? Allow them. If that person response is to you is, no, honey, you good. I've just been tired. He getting it. He getting it from somebody else. Look at the next door neighbor. She might be getting it. Look at your best friend. Look at somebody because he getting it from somewhere. A man will not be in a relationship and not have a connection sexually with his wife or his partner. Something wrong. That's a sign that you need to take serious. Because sex is important. Very important.
So, you know, at the age of 40,
yep.
Women has this change.
Mm-hmm.
And men have a change. You know, they go up, they go down. So that could play a part in it?
That's not the case. Because let me tell you, I hear this a lot. I hear it often. I hear people say, you know what? When I get a certain age, what I do is, you know what? I ain't feeling the same urge. Let me tell you something. I'm 48 years old. I'll be 49. I ain't never lost the urge. I ain't never lost the urge to feel like, you know what? I don't want to. I've never. So I think sometimes what happens is we allow things to creep in. You know, oh, I'm tired. Oh, it's not important. What you're doing is you're causing yourself to lose a flavor in your relationship or your marriage because you're like, I'm tired. I don't feel like being bothered. You're setting yourself up to lose that flavor. So you just have to continue to find little things. You know what I'm saying? Find little things. Maybe, and I'm gonna say a claim. It's not a bad thing for me to say this, but I'm gonna say it just in case somebody may feel like it's a bad thing. If let's say like you're you at that point and you're like, oh, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, you know, I'm not getting, you know, I'm not willing to do anything, I'm this certain. What you do is, what's wrong with to say, you know what, let's, you know, honey, what about tonight? Let's just do some foreplay and then tomorrow or the next night we can, you know, do whatever we need to do. Try to find things that's going to spice it up, but don't take it away. Because what you're doing is you're taking your emotional connection away from your spouse, and your spouse is doing the same to you. Okay.
So back to relationships and marriage and lost its flavor. What are some things you do? We heard about meow, but not just sexually things that you could do to put the fire back into a relationship. What are some other things that you can do?
One of the things I tried, and I make sure I do this once a month. Me and my husband will connect some way, whether it's the movies, whether it's going out to a weekend trip, whether it's take a ride, just me and him. I'm gonna find some things that I think that we both can connect where it's just us, meaning our quality time. You have to find opportunities to make it work. I don't care how tired you are. I don't care how you're feeling. You have to invest. If you don't invest in your marriage, if you don't invest in your relationship, then you can't expect it to grow. If you planted that, I planted my seed June 12th, 1993. And to date, I'm still watering that plant to continue to make it grow. So you have to make sure when you plant that seed, you don't let that plant die, because if you let that plant die, it might come to a crossroad where that plant is so dead that we can't do nothing to get it back, living. So you have to take time. One of the other things I did is think of some of the things that, you want to make sure you get. Like my husband is not as romantic as I am. So some of the things I would do is I planned out a whole night, right? Booked a hotel, planned it out, decorate the hotel, all that stuff. I gave him clues along the way during that week. Friday came, he got his last clue. His last clue was pack X, Y, and Z. Bring your mind clear, ready for whatever is going to happen. I planned somebody to pick him up. I blindfolded him. They put him in a car. They took him to the destination. Here's the only thing he needed to do was walk to the hotel desk and said, "Hey, I'm checking in for Trinella Ricks." The hotel receptionist already knew. So at that point, they already knew that he was coming. They gave him the room key. He came to the room. The room was decorated. I had rose petals. I had a little bench in front. I had my lingerie sitting there. I also had, some other things that were sitting there. Music, just a little bit of everything there. After that, we went out to eat. We came back, and everything that I had there was ready to go. So I'm saying to you is use your imagination. Everybody has an imagination, and if you want it, flip it around and allow him to show him, here's what I expected out of it, and I expect you to do the same. So sometimes you have to initiate it, because sometimes initiating it is one thing that would open that door. So take time to find, little fun things to do.
Okay.
It's not going to hurt.
So date night, we know about the meow.
Yeah.
And is there any little things I could do around the house to put? Because you know what? I'll say this. Mm-hmm. Some people from my inbox I've gotten where some people think both mates want each other.
Yep.
They want the relationship, but they feel like all hope is lost in that they feel like they can't zap the fire back, the romance back. What do you say to those people who feel like I want my relationship, but help? We're at the cross point where it's boring.
Yep. You have to then ask yourself the question, what are you doing to change it? So I could speak on it all day long. I could say, my relationship is boring. We ain't doing nothing. I don't know what's going on. I'm having stuff creep up in my mind about, do he still want me? If you haven't done anything, and I mean anything, to try and bring that flavor back into your relationship, then you got to expect that it's going to be bored. Then you got to expect that this crossroad may end your relationship or your marriage. So if you haven't tried anything, if I'm feeling bored and he feeling bored, and neither one of us do anything, then where are we getting ourselves? Boring every night, looking at TV, going to sleep, doing the missionary.
Oh, God, don't bring up missionary.
Doing the missionary.
Please.
Don't you just do the missionary and think the missionary. Oh, look, wait, let me curve that right quick. If you're trying to bring flavor back in your marriage, do not just do the missionary and think the darn missionary gonna help you get somewhere. They got 245 different positions you could try.
Okay.
Don't do the missionary only. I'm telling you.
So,
you killing yourself.
I got a question.
I got an answer.
Just ask, and I'm scared to ask this question.
Girl, ask you because
because they're sending them in. I'm horny, but I'm scared to initiate sex.
Well, you gonna stay horny. You gonna stay horny, because if I'm horny and I'm scared to initiate sex, then something's wrong. A lot of times what happens is women expect that's a part of their relationship a man needs to initiate. No, baby. Anybody will tell you, if my husband was down here, he would tell you, if I want it, he's gonna know I want it. I said when I did the interview about missionary, one of the things I would do is I would walk around and be like, meow, meow. My husband say to me, Nella, what's wrong with you? Kitty hungry. You have to allow yourself to be honest. If you're honest in your relationship and that's what you want, ask for it. Now, if he don't give it to you, that's a different story. You're going to have a conversation with him and his stuff. But you put it out there and you say, I'm horny.
Some people don't have that. I was reading the comment here. I'm sorry. Some people don't have that confidence. You can't tell me to say that, and when I don't have the confidence to say that to my mate. You know what I mean?
This is my problem. You talking about your mate. You talking about your husband. If you don't have confidence to ask your husband for something that you want, then something is wrong with your marriage. Because your husband can't read your mind. Your husband can't read that you horny and you around here, looking at him all sideways, all upside down because you so horny, but you was afraid to ask him. What you're doing is you're depriving yourself. I ain't depriving myself. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to ask the question. If he ain't really give it to you and he give you an honest answer as to why he's not willing to give it to you then, and you accept his answer, but he's willing to give it to you at another time, then that's a different story. Ask it. How would you know? He might appreciate that you're asking him and you initiate it. Men want women to come to them too. Men want women to initiate. It's not all about a man. Because just like a man have an urge, we as women have an urge too. So if you horny baby girl, if you horny baby boy, you better ask for what you want.
So what if he wasn't interested in your sex in the first place, and he wasn't interested in from it? He already from the jump wasn't interested in your sex, and you just now noticing that he ain't interested in it.
My first question is, how long we been dating? How long we been married? If he's not interested in your sex from the beginning, you got clues. That man have showed you something. Because if he's not interested in it, he doing it just for the emotions, you're going to know. So you just have to allow yourself to connect to understand what he's delivering or what he's giving to you. You going to know.
These questions.
You going to know.
It's crazy. I have one more.
Okay.
I'm sorry, guys. These are the questions that are coming in. What about if I'm waiting for to be married, and then I get married and I find out it's not what I thought it would be?
Girl, I said.
Wait, now we have Christian people.
I'm about to say.
Wait.
Here's the thing. I ain't going to even give you no 5-second me on this. If you're not ready to hear my answer, I'm going to deliver this answer truthfully.
I'm going to deliver it from a Christian point.
And this girl right here going to deliver it from a Christian point.
Why gotta be that?
Because, let me tell you something. Now, ask me that question again. Because I'm hot under the collar with that question.
I waited for my marriage to have sex, and then I have but I'm gonna say it from this point of view, because sometimes it's when we have all these fantasies about sex and we put all these expectations on he gonna float in the room on a white horse.
That ain't what we having a fantasy about. We having a fantasy to make sure. Let me tell you something. You'll be a fool to think he gonna float in that room on a white horse. Don't believe the hype. My fantasy is, Lord, let him deliver. Now, if he can't deliver, just imagine what your marriage gonna be like if you gotta stick around.
What?
So if I wait, if I choose to wait,
okay.
If it's something I choose to wait, and we get there, we done got married, this our wedding night, we don't want to go out to no bar, we don't want to do no, we want to go to their hotel room, and we gonna take care of business, because God gave me my positive to my negative. So we gonna connect, right? We get to that room and he pull out an itty bitty.
Oh my gosh.
I'm getting an annulment.
Oh my gosh.
I'm getting an annulment, because one thing that I will tell you is, and I may joke about this, but one thing I will tell you is, sex is important as me connecting with him emotionally, me connecting with him physically, me connecting with him spiritually.
Oh God.
It's important. It's important. So if that night you pull out something that can't even connect with me,
I'm done with you.
then I'm done.
Okay.
I'm done, because then 5 years down the line, that anatomy don't change. It ain't gonna grow. You 40-something years old. Where you think you gonna grow? You know, little more baby. You know, little baby where you know. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna give him an opportunity. You know, he could do that. He could, probably get a little bit better. No, okay. And that's the part that makes me mad. Don't deceive me, because you could have told me that up front, and we could have had a conversation, and then I could have walked out the room on you.
Okay, I'm gonna say this from a
Here we go.
point of view.
Christians think about stuff like this too.
Yes, but I'm gonna say this.
Okay.
If I'm waiting to be married and I have sex and it's not what I think it was supposed to be.
Yep.
Intimacy is not, and I'm just gonna be real. Intimacy. Yep. You wouldn't know, because for me, intimacy is not just in the bed. Intimacy starts before you get in the bed.
But the bed is important too.
But
so
listen,
what if he can't give that to you?
Listen.
Okay.
Listen, Linda. Listen.
Okay. Linda, listen. I'm listening.
I understand what you're saying, But I want people to understand that intimacy don't just start when we get in that bed. Intimacy starts with the conversation. Intimacy starts with our date night. Intimacy starts with me and you just walking past in the house. That's a part of the bed. Because you can't tell me you and Uncle Mike could be in here and y'all ain't saying nothing to each other all day but then y'all gonna just be fireballs in the bed.
You can be.
Wait, hold on. Because not in the beginning you won't, because if you feel like you're insecure and neglected, you're not going to go in that bed feeling. So that's what I'm saying. So I would say for a person who is waiting on their mate and who's waiting on to get married, to have sex, build the intimacy in the beginning. Because I'm going to tell you this. I'm just going to be honest. Because sometimes I can have this fantasy, and I can have this fantasy about this man tearing it down, and this vivid video in my head, and because that guy don't do it, I feel like, oh, he ain't bringing it to me. So, but that's just what I have in my head.
So let me ask you this so now you speaking on a spiritual standpoint. Let me ask you from a spiritual. I want to put it from a spiritual standpoint. You done did it, you done had a, conversation with them, y'all done connected, with conversation, y'all done connected eating at the dinner table, y'all done did footsies under the table, y'all done held hands, y'all done hugged, but y'all ain't did the do. Right? But you done had this fantasy. Y'all done got married. It's your wedding night.
Right.
You go into the room, expect, I'm going to give me, oh, yeah, I've been waiting for this.
Okay.
And he pull out an itty bitty. I want your honest opinion.
But here's the thing. How would I know
you ain't connected to that piece of it.
I'm about to ask you this. How do I know if he'll itty bitty? If I waited for a marriage, I should be.
That's what I'm saying. If I waited for you, if I took the time to wait for you, this is me. If I've taken that time to wait for you.
Right.
And then that night we get into, we married and all this stuff. And he pull out something that he can't perform. Meaning, and I'm just giving, when I say itty bitty, I'm giving you a situation that that you may not be able to come back from. So I get it what To's saying from a spiritual side. We gonna connect. I choose to do it.
For a relationship. If we're in a relationship, and I'm gonna use me and my husband.
Yep.
We was teenagers when we met.
Yep.
Our relationship has matured in a way that we can please one another.
But you missing my point.
But I'm saying maybe I'm gonna be out in that night. I might have he gone. Listen, hear me out. Come into the bedroom with all of this. I had all these expectations. So now I feel he's underperforming because of the expectation. It has nothing to do with size. It has nothing. So
it
now
doesn't.
in my experience, I have realized the intimacy started when we were communicating throughout the day. So when he get there, I'm already so into him, intimacy, that when the sexual part is just elevated into a new height. It started way with the community. I'm telling you,
that's not right. Because let me tell you something. I could be connected with you physically, mentally, but if that night comes and you're not performing, and what I don't just mean like perform, but what I mean is if you can't deliver. I don't mean that you got it, but you're not performing right. Because if you got it and you're not performing right, it will happen. That piece will, that piece will grow, because some things will change. He don't really know what you like, but what I'm saying to you is, and this is questions I want to see what viewers would say. If that man presents himself and he got something that's small that he's not capable, there ain't no growth to it, ain't nothing gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? What would be your true response to that? My response would be, I'm not wasting my time. I ain't got time. I'm not wasting my time.
So would I tell him he's not satisfying me? How do I tell my mate that he isn't satisfying me? And me, may he might have all the equipment and turn me on, but when I look at him, then we get to get it on. He ain't satisfying me. So it ain't just. Once again, I'ma say this, and I'ma say this, and then you could just pick. For me, this is just me. Sex is sex.
Yep.
You have to incorporate.
Wait, you say sex? You say sex is sex like that's little.
It is little when you don't have intimacy.
Girl.
Yes, you. Yes.
Sex is sex if you don't have. But what? Okay, I'll let you finish.
Okay, let me finish my thought. The question was, how do you tell your mate that he isn't satisfying you?
You have to be honest.
He has the equipment.
Yep.
he when you look at him, he turns you on.
Yep.
Yeah, when y'all get it,
Yep.
I get turned on.
Yep.
But he ain't
He ain't
finishing
connected.
her.
So then she has to be honest with him. Because here's where it comes to the question when somebody asks the question about, you know what, I'm horny, but I'm afraid to ask my mate. What you have to do is you have to be honest. If he's doing something that is displeasing to you or that you don't feel like, you know, he's doing, it's nothing wrong with you having a conversation. You don't have to make him feel small, or you don't have to be like, well, you know what, you're not. It's a conversation that you might have and say, you know what, I'm not feeling that. Or when you in the business of doing the do, say, you know what, let's just try this. It's nothing wrong with you taking the time to initiate it. You just have to be honest with your mate, whether female or male, because if you're not honest and you're dishonest, then you set yourself up for failure. Then you set yourself up to be unhappy. Then you set yourself up to be displeased. You have to be honest with yourself to be okay to ask your husband or tell your husband, I'm not feeling this situation. Intimacy is important. Sex is important. So if he's giving you that intimacy and he's not fulfilling the end of the intimacy with the sex, then you have to have a conversation, because it could be something that could be fixable. It could be.
Right.
It could be. But if you don't ask him, if you don't have that conversation with him, then you're setting yourself up to be unhappy. I don't care who you are. Or he or she is setting himself up to be unhappy.
Well, I'll just say, from my point of view, this is only me,
Yep.
that when you're out there and you're having sex with all these people,
Yep.
just remember it's a spiritual attachment that goes along with that.
Correct. You shouldn't. You shouldn't. That's one of the things. I'm saying this. I say this, and I'm speaking from a standpoint that I've been married for 24 years. I've been my husband for 29.
Marriage.
So I'm speaking from a marriage standpoint. Do not put yourself out there as a female that's going to sleep with every person out there to try to figure out, you know, what you're doing. Because what you're doing is you're destroying your body. And what you're doing is you're laying an expectation on every man you have sex with. You're expecting something out of that. So don't put yourself out there to be with every person along the way, because what you're doing is you're not connecting with yourself and finding out who you are. You have to connect with yourself and find out who you are. And if you're doing that, 5 different men is not going to help you. When I speak, I'm speaking from a marriage standpoint. I'm speaking for me. Okay. But when I was in a relationship, when it was 5 years into my relationship, as I'm in my relationship, yeah, I expected some things, but I will never advise you to jump from man to man to man to man to man. But if that man or that woman is not pleasing you, be honest with yourself and be honest with them.
So have a conversation.
You have to have a conversation. You have to.
Sometimes we don't know what pleases us.
You don't know what pleases you, but 29 years in the game.
Well, yeah.
If I don't know what pleases me, I don't know what I want for my husband, then I need to go the other way, because something ain't right.
So what about for people that's not in?
Yeah.
If you're not in a marriage, well, I'm gonna say this: if you're 40 plus years, once you get to that 30 year, that 40 plus,
marriage.
You've lived. No, not being single. Let's say you're single. I'm not gonna talk about marriage couples at this point, but I'm gonna say a single person. You've had some relationship in your life. You've dealt with some people in your life. So you can't tell me you haven't lived this life and you don't know what pleases you. You've had that. You kind of have an idea. You don't know. You know, but you might not be willing to share. Allow yourself to be ready for that man. And what I mean ready is clean your own temple. I don't mean just sexually, so don't just think I'm saying sexually. Work on yourself from the bottom of your head to the bottom of your feet. So when you do get to that point, there's different things that could allow you to connect with him, not just the sexual piece of it.
Speak on, and I'm going to take a turn here because I feel like some of these questions goes back to knowing who you are, knowing your self-worth,
knowing your worth,
and having confidence in yourself. So I just want you to, because it's almost an hour we've been on it, so I just want to give people some substance on speaking on confidence, because bottom line for men or women, both parties need to know their self-worth, and both parties need to have confidence, and in any relationship you're in. So speak on that, and knowing who you are, knowing who you are, because if you know who you are, then you know what you want, and you'll be able to get that across, and having that confidence to share these things in a relationship, whether you're in a relationship or married.
Correct. One of the things you have to know is you have to know your self-worth. if you haven't built your temple up, and what I mean by temple is your body, I mean mentally, physically, emotionally. If you haven't built yourself, to take some time out for yourself to work on you, and know that whenever that man or that woman come your way, you're ready. You have to allow yourself to be free. You have to allow yourself to let the old baggage go. You have to allow yourself to be ready to move forward. One of the things I will say, being in this marriage for 29 years, I appreciate that I haven't lost who I am in my marriage. I'm still me. I haven't changed. From the day he met me, I'm still me. I've always been straightforward. I've always said what I want. I've always been that way. I'm going to lay it out there. Either you could tell me yes or no. I used to have a friend who would like somebody. She was up in age. She was in her 30s. And she'll be like, I'm afraid to approach them. You know, well, maybe if they say no. What that tells me is you haven't taken the time to be happy with yourself. Because if you go to a person and you say, you know what, I really like you, or you're dating somebody, they say no, and you share with them that you like them, and then they shut you down and say, you know what, I'm not just ready for a relationship right now. That's fine. You have to be willing to go into it, ask the question, get the answer, and be okay with that answer. Because every person you approach is not going to give you the answer you're looking for. And so you have to ask God to allow you to be able to accept to get no's, because you're going to get some no's. You're going to get some people that you might like, you might be head over heels about, and they may just not like you. And so you just have to be okay with yourself and know that, you know what, if he don't like me, that's fine. There's somebody else out there that will like me, and be okay with that. Be okay with that no that he going to give you.
Okay. Good. So, this is a heavy one.
Mm-hmm.
I was debating on asking you this because I just know where this is going to go.
Okay.
What do you do when you're having intimate relations and your partner brings up your ex and asks you if this is how your ex did it, and won't have intimate relationships in the places and that person and the ex have had? So if it's on an airplane, at the
beach,
is he insecure, and how do I fix that mood breaker?
You can't fix it. He has to fix himself. So when I talk about a woman knowing their worth, that's a prime example for a man knowing his worth. Let me tell you something. A man is destroying himself. If he's going to have a conversation with me and he want to know what I did with a previous relationship and he chose not to do things or places me and a previous person did, then what your relationship and your foundation is based on? Your previous relationship. He trying to please you the way your previous partner please you. He can't do it. What he has to do is build his own relationship with you. What that means to me is he hasn't done the work for himself. If he's concerned about a past relationship, then something's wrong. I'm not having no conversation with you, Billy, to tell you about what me and Bob Joe did. I'm not about to do that. You be a man, stand up, and please me the way you please me. That's right. Don't allow a man to ask you questions, you give him answers, and he sets you up with those answers that you give him. It's not worth it. Because then what you're going to start feeling like is, oh, I'm in a relationship with my ex, but the person that's in front of me is not my ex. Just don't allow him. What you need to tell him is, look, the past is the past. We're moving on. Now, you're going to either fulfill my dreams, make me feel good, or make me do whatever we're going to do. But at the end of the day, you have to not allow him to bring in the past.
So, for me, I just think that's insecure.
It's very insecure.
Man.
He got some insecurity. He got to work. One man. Let me just say this. One man, because men is an ego. Men carrying an ego. And what man will come to you and ask you that question about an ex and try or choose not to do things that an ex did, or try to stand up to the ex? One man will do that. His spirit is broken, and his spirit is broken emotionally, because what he's trying to do is trying to fulfill the shoes of somebody previously. But what he don't understand is, I ain't with him. So the fact that I ain't with him, some of the things he did wasn't right, or some of the things we did or didn't connect on wasn't right. So at that point, that relationship was miserable. It failed. So if you gonna ask me questions about my past relationship and expect this relationship today to move on, boy, bye. We ain't going nowhere. We going down a river in a boat with no paddle. And we going to just let the river just take us whichever direction we feel like going. The river feel like going. Don't allow that, because I'm telling you, he's expecting, or he's trying to outdo what the previous person did. And he doesn't realize that he can do it without trying to fulfill a previous mate. Don't ask me deep questions about my mate, a mate I had in the past. I ain't got time to talk to him. I ain't got time.
I think this is while they're having intimate relations, he's asking those questions, which I think is.
Then you should get up out that damn. You should get up, run. How you gonna? That ain't no different than. I'm gonna lay it to you like this. That ain't no different than I'm in the bed with me and my husband, and me and my husband having relation, and he said, "Oh, did Joseph do it like this?" I wish I would have a conversation with him. He might be dead. I wish I would have a conversation with him. That's tacky. That's very tacky. If he asks you that, you say, "You know what? I'm done. We gonna do this tomorrow." If you continue, let me tell you, if you're in the bed with him, you're doing what you need to do, and then he come through a question about a past relationship, and you keep going, then you're setting it up to make him think it's okay to ask you those questions while you guys are having sex. Don't do it. Don't do it, because then he's trying to build a relationship or emotional connection behind what happened in the past. It's not worth it. What you do is you stop that right away. If my husband asked me that question, I'd have lost the urge, and I don't lose the urge often. I done lost the urge. We done.
What if it's, not just husband, they're in a relationship?
We done. Because then I'm setting myself up to be able to answer, or he's setting the expectation of trying to be like the past relationship. I left the past in the past. Why I want to move forward with you and you bringing up the past? No, boy, you done put a sour lemon in my mouth and I can't even take the frown off my face. Okay. I can't. Okay. No. Calm down. I can't do it.
Calm down. So that was calm down.
Nah.
So guys, we've been on for past an hour and I didn't want to go over the hour time. So Auntie Nulla, she has this after dark, ask Auntie Nulla after dark questions. And these are her questions, uncensored. Trust me. Uncensored, so I won't be here to censor.
You can send me your question, I'm going to give you my answer.
So these questions with Auntie, if you're under the age of 18,
don't log in.
Do not log in, because she will give you some questions. She will answer these questions. And I think what I found out is some of the questions that I've been getting, a lot of people want to know about intimacy in their relationship, in their marriage. How to bring it, how to have flavor, how to do this. And it's a lot of questions they don't have people they can go to and answer these questions without feeling insecure and dumb down themselves. Correct. So a lot of times I will come and talk to her, hey, I want to spice up my marriage with my husband. What should I do? We making 25 years. What should I do? Or, what's some little things that I can make fun in our relationship to make it fun again? Because one thing I have learned through my relationship is that you have to have fun. You have to be like best friends and friends. And she would tell me those things and just some of the stuff. So if you're under the age of 18, do not log on. Oh, how about this? Log off.
Correct.
We're going to give you 60 seconds to log off. We had some other questions. They was just too raunchy for this post. I just wanted her to talk about, every relationship, what I found out, and maybe you could speak on this before we go. 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes.
Yep.
Every relationship will go through a drought.
Every relationship.
And most people don't understand that at some point in your relationship, and I'm not saying a drought where you won't, but it'll go through that staleness. But it's up to you and your mate to make a mature decision on where to go from there to build the fire back up. And I would say, I want you to speak on that, because that was something you would tell me, is that me and my husband have to make both of us have to make a mature decision on how we can build. And we had to be honest enough for him to share what his needs was, and for me to share what my needs or what I needed from him, and what he needed from me to build that hypeness back up when we were back in 1993 when we
Correct.
first were newlyweds and things like
Correct.
that. So
Correct.
can you speak to those people that right now in their relationship, they've probably been dating 3 years, married for 3 years, whatever the case may be, and they're going through this, I call it a drought period.
Yep.
You know, where you're trying to become one, you want to meet his needs, he's trying to meet your needs,
Yep.
and all of this. How speak to that and give like some encouraging words for those people who both partners have made that decision that they want to carry on in their relationship and marriage.
If you've had a conversation with your mate, and so your relationship is at that drought, you're at a crossroad, you're not knowing which direction you need to go, you have to have a conversation. I say this often. Every time somebody asks me a question, I can't give you an answer for a mate. I can't give you an answer for that mate. Or you can't expect an answer for the mate. And the reason why you can't expect the answer from the mate is simply because you may know what you want, you may know what you expect out of it, but you don't truly know what they expect out of it. Once you have that conversation and it's one-on-one with it, and that person gives you the answer and say, yep, I'm willing to fight for this marriage, then what you do is you go in your comfort zone or go in your closet, get on your knees, take some time, pray with God and say, God, you know what? My marriage is going through some stuff right now. We both want this marriage. You guys take some time to pray. We both want this marriage. We're stuck. Allow us to open our minds, open our hearts to be able to try and fight or continue to fight for our marriage. Then you start to think of some things that you think he might like. Surprise him. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes what happens with relationships and marriages is, Valentine's Day come around, because I've been with that person for 29 years, she don't really need none, I'm just going to cook old dinner. When you don't put effort into stuff, because let me tell you something, you could bring me home one rose and surprise me and I don't know that rose coming, I'm happy. But if you choose to be like, I'm just going to do the normal thing we do, just cook a steak, make some potatoes, eat some broccoli, and leave it be, you're not connecting with your mate emotionally, and you're not allowing your mate to feel like you appreciate them. And a lot of times women think it's all just on us. We should just take. And the man should give. That's because that's what needs to happen. You need to change that frame of mind. Just like he's giving, you need to give. Just like you're taking, he needs to be able to take. So it doesn't take a genius to take some time to try and find, even if you're looking at books, going on YouTube, find things to do, connect with somebody and say, you know what, I've been with my husband for this amount of years. What did you do at your 5th year anniversary? What did you do at your 10th year anniversary? Take some time to try and figure out. Let me tell you, if you take the time to create something that's gonna take care of that flower that's dead, or your relationship is in a drought, I promise you, if he's honest enough with you and he said he's ready to move forward, he will be willing to do anything. You just have to do it. A lot of men will do it, but if you don't do it and you're not honest with yourself and share it, then it can't go anywhere. It can't go anywhere.
So guys, we're going to go ahead and do the After Dark in about 60 seconds. We want to get the little kids off. But I just want to encourage the people that's out there that's going through a drought. God can fix anything.
Yep.
And if you guys make that decision to carry on in your relationship and bring God in the midst of it, he will heal it. He will fix it.
He will.
But the question will have to be, those questions will have to be answered honestly. Because if I want I'll say like me and my husband married 25 years, coming in December. For 25 years, Mo, honey, what's your needs? What are some of the things you desire? And and he has to be honest, just like I have to be honest. And I can't give this storybook telling. That's something my aunt would tell me. Tell him the truth. Be honest. Tell him how you feel. Because when in doing that, you're telling him your needs. So be blessed, you guys. Give us about 60 seconds. And we'll be with the After Dark. These are the questions she's really dying to answer. She didn't want to do this post at all. She just wanted to do the After Dark.
I'm ready to do both. I'm ready, because there's a piece of me that has that side, but there's also a piece of me that I can connect with people who struggle. I get a ton of questions. People constantly asking me what I need to do.
Okay, tune in 60 seconds, you guys.